Hello everyone. I am mixing soil today for alocasia. I've already mixed up soil for my African violet on wicks, and this is going to be for alocasia on a wick system, so kind of semi-hydro. I also I have a list of where I got these things and the prices that I got them at, what I found out. So if you know you can source this stuff for even less, please leave me a comment in the comment section, because I'm all about finding the best deal. And I just kind of looked online a little bit. So the first ingredient here, leca, for my little semi-hydro chunky mix. And I got mine at the Home Depot. And this is the bag of what I got. Okay, and it was 20 liters for $28.97 or 10 liters for $14.43. Now, it's a little confusing because on the leca, Amazon had 10 pounds for 996 cubic inches. So you gotta, I'm sorry, such a pause. You gotta be careful because these guys will, one will give it in cubic inches, the other one gives it in liters, the other one, see, this has got liters, and then the other one gives it in gallons or ounces or whatever. So I had to find a common way of measuring because they can add a little bit of water to it and make the product weigh more. So in the end, the leca was cheaper at the Home Depot because 1,430 cubic inches was $28.97, whereas 996 cubic inches on Amazon, the best price I could get was $24. So I got 50% more for the dollar at Home Depot when I sat and did the math on paper. Okay, perlite. I've had people ask me, what is my time worth? Well, whether you're mixing it yourself or working for somebody else, you're still working to earn it. And anytime I could work for myself by doing DIY, I'm going to go for that. And I got out of that 2 cubic foot bag, 5 big bags. Let's take you over here. 5 full bags. This one I already dumped into the bowl, but 5 2.5 gallon bags, of course, and 5 2.5 gallon, or yeah, 5 2.5 gallon bags of, no, it was 4. So it was 8 bags total, and it was 10 gallons of coarse and 10 gallons of fine. Well, I looked up last time I bought it on Amazon, and one little itty bitty bag, I think I paid 20 bucks for, whereas this was 20, it says I spent $26.97, but I got 20 gallons of perlite. I mean, it wasn't even close. So it's Vigoro perlite. I get it at the Home Depot. Okay, black lava. I'm still on the fence on this. I got this bag at Amazon, and it's nice, and the price was $24.95 for a 10-pound bag. I just ordered same size bag of fire pit lava. I'm waiting for the delivery. It was only, says here, $14.52. So if it's the right size, then going for the fire pit black lava is the way to go. And then we've got pumice, and I bought this almost a year ago for my husband on Amazon, and I have not found, let's see, this is the brand. I don't even know if they still have it on there. I think they do. Let's see, and it's 8 quarts for $25, and I've not found it anywhere else cheaper. Okay, the Hydro Crunch, again, the measurements are different. I got this at Home Depot. The price was real comparative on Amazon. The benefit of the Amazon was that it came in 5 blocks, and I've got to saw apart this stuff. But this makes 25 gallons of hydrated cocoa coir. So now I've used most of these ingredients in my African violet soil, including all my cute little additives, and got amazing results. Really happy plants that grow very fast. And I even used it on a couple of alocasia, and they sprouted new leaves right away. And these were plants that were rather sick from the Home Depot. And the only thing that's really different here that I have not used on anything is the zeolite. And on YouTube, everybody said get it in the Eco Traction. Now, there's Eco Traction Pro, which has extra chemicals. You want the plain old Eco Traction. It's all natural volcanic minerals, and it says right on it that it's good for your plants. So I'm going to trust it. Apparently, a lot of people are using it for their alocasias, colocasia. They're using it in their PON. And apparently zeolite is what's in lechuza. So there's my zeolite I'm going to be using today. So here's all my goodies. And I'm going to throw a little bit of vermiculite in there. And for this fine stuff, I get that at Home Depot, Vigoro also. So I'm going to put you guys up here. And if mixing soil bores you, you don't have to watch this video. I don't know, I find this stuff exciting. Sorry. Let's see if I can get this thing a little better situated here. Okay, so I'm not a professional. I'm just trying to come up with something that'll work good for my semi-hydroponic for my alocasia, colocasia. I've got some philodendron coming, but they are epiphytes, meaning they live on trees. So theirs is going to be switched up a little bit with premium bark. So I'm going to do one part of everything. So there's leca and the perlites separate. So there's my dark lava. There's my light pumice. I've got 1 part zeolite. I'm adding some coco coir. Usually semi-hydro, I don't know if it does or doesn't use coco coir. But that's that. Okay. Where did I put that? Here we go. So my goal is to try and do whatever how many parts of all these ingredients that I put together, I want to do equal amount in perlite. So if I got 5 parts of this, because I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to add some this. Some vermiculite. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 parts. Okay, now I'm going to do 6 parts of perlite. One, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, wet that perlite down outside. That stuff is terrible. It will get, all this stuff's been wet down. I mean, I don't want dust all over my plants, and I don't want it in my lungs either. Okay, so there's 6 parts. That, oh, see all that dust? I forgot, the bag didn't get wet down, just what was in the bowl. My bad. Okay. So, let's get some water on that as quick as we can. We'll be dusting plants for weeks. Okay. Let's see how that looks. You know, I'm just kind of winging this. I just don't have it mixed completely. Okay. That coconut core is a little tight. Okay, that looks better. I think I'm going to take some of these chunky bits out. I wish that wasn't so clumped, because I don't want clumps. Okay, now, garden lime. This is not in the box that I bought it in. And where's my recipe here of how much I add? I've got garden lime, 1 ounce. Okay, so this is a little 3-ounce cup. And 1 ounce is about 1/3 of it. You don't want to add a lot of this because it will raise the pH way too much if you do. You just want a little bit to stabilize the pH. And then I've got 2 ounces of organic slow feed. And it doesn't look like Osmocote. You could use Osmocote. I don't know how much you would use because I've always used the organic. But it just looks like crumbly black stuff. And I got this in 20-pound bags. Or, no, excuse me, 40-pound bags online last winter through Home Depot. And it's organic slow feed, no burn for garden and lawns. And I forgot to go out last night and get the MPK on it, but it takes a while to break down. So I'm doing 2 ounces of this. And I don't have this written down, so I guess I should have. So you're just going to have to follow me. Okay, the bark I add in as I'm potting. So this is premium orchid bark. And I don't mix it in the soil because it's really expensive. So what I do is I'm potting a plant, I throw anywhere between 3 and 5 chunks in the pot as I'm filling it up. And that way, they only need a little bit of wood. And philodendron grow on trees, so they're going to get more of this. And I plan on putting bark in my moss poles. Okay, so we've got our garden lime, our slow feed, our basalt. I am going to put the tiniest amount, not even, I don't know if you can see this. It's probably a teaspoon. If less is better, people. Less is always better. And then the bonide. I think it's, let's see, bonide, basalt, garden lime, 1 teaspoon of bonide, so let me put this into this cup, and this is 1/8 of a teaspoon, so I'm going to grab. That's what I use as a dressing, top dressing. So I'm going to steal my little fertilizer. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 teaspoon of bonide to all this mix. And if I'm not repotting a plant, I use 1/8 of a teaspoon sprinkled around the top and water it in. And I do my bonide every 4 weeks. It says every 8 weeks. So you can't follow this. I'm not an expert. This is just what I've been doing for me. Instead of adding it every 8 weeks and then re-adding it 8 weeks later, when it may be so low that it's not working, I do way less of the dose, less than half of the dose every 4 weeks. So I mix some in when I'm doing the soil, and then I sprinkle 1/8 of a teaspoon on top of the plants every 4 weeks, and I keep a written schedule on it I've not had a bug one yet. Okay, so here's 1 teaspoon of bonite in this mix. And by the way, if you're wondering how much this is, this container I'm using, this is 1 quart. Alright, so let's put that bonite back in here because we don't want chemicals sitting around unlabeled. And again, that's just bonite systemic. And I know it won't control spider mites or cyclamen mites. This I am fully aware of. So for that, I use neem oil and soap. And for the African violets, I add baking soda. And I've been experimenting with that. And I used to use a teaspoon of neem to a quart. A teaspoon of neem, a teaspoon of soap, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. Well, I'm now using half a teaspoon of neem, half a teaspoon of soap, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. I have been experimenting with this for months now. And this way lower dose, it wipes out powdery mildew on 1 spraying. It's not going to rid it from your grow room. It's in the air. But it cures it on the plant immediately without doing damage to the leaves. It's really diluted. I used to use it stronger, but it would sometimes, the baking soda would burn the leaves. Okay, so that's it. That's my mix. So, what do I have in here? I have 1 quart of zeolite. I have 1 quart of pumice. I have 1 quart of cocoa coir. I have 1 quart of black lava. I have 1 quart of leca. I have 1 quart of vermiculite, all mixed together. And then 6 quarts of coarse, not the big chunky stuff, but coarse, just coarse perlite, you know, that's about that big. You can see how big that perlite is. So this mix is real light. It's half perlite. And then into this, I lightly sprinkled a teaspoon of Epsom salt, a teaspoon of bonide, 1 ounce of garden lime, 2 ounces of organic slow feed, no burn, and I forgot one last ingredient. This is a 5.5 ounce cup. This is really important because I read where these plants grow, and a lot of them are lithophytes, meaning they grow in rocks. African violets are a lithophyte. Okay, so this is basalt, and it's a fine powder, and I've been using it for a while with my African violets, and they're just gorgeous, and I plan on using it with my alocasia. I got it on Amazon, and here, I'll get the name of it, but I use a full 5.5 ounce cup of that. It provides minerals. It's by the Soil Makers. This label is just going to heck, but it's the Soil Makers. Made in Connecticut. It's black basalt. And I got a huge bag of it for a really reasonable price. I've been using it for a year and I barely touched the tip of the iceberg. I got lots to go. So, now that this is all together, there it is. There's my chunky mix. Zeolite, cocoa coir, pumice, black lava, perlite, leca, vermiculite, basalt fines, organic slow feed. Here, I'm going to unhook you. And always wear gloves, especially when handling bonide. So, I put a quart of zeolite, a quart of cocoa coir, a quart of pumice, a quart of black lava, a quart of leca, a quart of fine vermiculite. Okay, that's 6 items, 1 quart each. And then, so that makes 6 quarts of all those ingredients. So I put 6 quarts of perlite. So my mix is 50% perlite. And then I did 1 ounce of garden lime, 1 teaspoon of Epsom salt. I did 2 ounces of organic slow feed no burn fertilizer. I did 5.5 ounces of basalt fines. I will sprinkle in the bark as I pot the plant. And I did 1 teaspoon of bonide. And I always go light on it because I add it regularly. And let me see here. It says, oh, it's not even on here. It's in the little booklet, but it's like 10 times more than that you can add to the soil. It gives it by how large the planter is. But a whole, I mean, that 1 teaspoon in this whole big thing is almost nothing. It's barely there. But I always feel less is better, and because I do the bonide every 4 weeks, 1/8 of a teaspoon sprinkled around the top of the soil. And that was on the African violets. I'm probably going to go 1/2 teaspoon every 4 weeks on these larger alocasia. So this is not a what you should be using video. This is showing you what I'm doing. And you could check back in a month and find out if my plants died or if they thrived. They're either alive and thriving or they bit the dust. So you can watch what happens to me before you think about using anything like this, because this is an experiment on my part, and I don't know, I may change it up a little bit and add more black lava or more leca, but for right now this is my base that I'm starting with, because I just started alocasia. I'm not an alocasia pro, but I'll tell you, all these little ingredients, the garden lime and the basalt fines and slow feed, I repotted 3 alocasia 3 weeks ago, and one of the rhizomes was complete mush, like you could spread it on a slice of bread, and I saved the other bulb, and the other 2 I not only saved them, but they're thriving and they grew new leaves. One grew 2 and the other one, I'll show you it, they're here. Let me pull this open and get this plant. This plant I got for $7 at Home Depot. And look at it. It was literally laying sideways out of the pot. The rhizome was completely 1 inch out of the soil, meaning no piece of the rhizome was in there. It was dangling by 2 little roots that were sunk into the soil, and the rhizome was literally hanging upside down, and the plant was hanging upside down. And I held it up to him and said, well, it's been discounted to $7. Will you go cheaper? And they said, no, the vendor has to do that. So I repotted it 3 weeks ago, and it has given me this gorgeous leaf. And it's not had any more browning, and it's been doing beautifully. And that's my African violet mix. And as you could see, it's on a wick. It's on a drippy old wick. So I've been wick watering it. And the other one, which was nearly dead, is this Lauterbachia. And we shall see how that one does. It's alive. It opened up this leaf, and that's all it has. I mean, it was just, you know, it's in the African violet soil mix, and it is, I can't pick it up right here with one hand, but it's on 4 wicks. And I'm about to take this poly and repot it, and I will record that on a separate video, but that poly is going to go into my mix because right now it's just in this Coca-Cola peat moss stuff, and I'm worried it's going to die in there, so I don't want to lose it. She's a pretty plant. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely evening.